Alright, so starting our second half with the first chapter. So, it says the main text about chakras that has come to us in the West is a translation of tantric texts by the Englishman Arthur Avalon in his book The Serpent Power, published in 1919. These texts, the Chakra Nirupana, written by an Indian Pundit in 1577, and the Padaka Pangaka, written in the 10th century, contain descriptions of the chakra centers and related practices. Just bear with us, because even these are a lot of words that we're kind of having a little bit trouble pronouncing, because a lot of this is from Indian, and I'm not really too familiar with Indian type things, at least not yet anyway, because that is definitely a culture which I would love to learn more about, and we're definitely starting to learn more about it right now, because the wheels of life in general the idea of it came from Hindu or Indian tradition. There is also another 10th century text called the Gorakshashatakam, Gorakshashatakam, which gives instructions for meditating on the chakras. These texts form the basis of our understanding of chakra theory today. In these traditions, there are 7 basic chakras, which exist within the subtle body, your mind body, interpenetrating the physical body. The subtle body is a non-physical psychic body and is superimposed on our physical bodies. It can be measured as electromagnetic force fields within and around all living creatures. Remember how even in you, we were talking about that electromagnetic force which is surrounding each and every single one of us. Okay, it is our aura. Okay, that electromagnetic mind body of what we are, because we learned that everything is electromagnetic in nature. Okay, everything is created out of electromagnetism. Everything in nature, all matter, has a basis of electromagnetism. We've learned that the sun itself is a point of distribution of nothing but electromagnetic energy. Okay, and as the planets are pushing through this electromagnetic energy, they in turn are setting it in motion, okay, creating vibrations and energy of their own. And then the Earth, all those vibrations, since we're in the same solar system, we're being affected by all of that, as we live through our day lives. That's how we got astrology, that's how we got horoscopes. Even those, the anatomy of the stars, you can say, or the mapping of the stars, all that is scientific. That was created many years ago. Yeah, it's extremely cool. It can be measured as electromagnetic force fields within and around all living creatures. Kirlian photography, for example, has actually photographed the emanations of the subtle body in both plants and animals. Okay, you remember how he just said, photographed the energies coming from everything. So these energies are even in existence. Even when Charles F. Hannell was talking about when they photographed your thinking, the vibrations of your thoughts are registered in the ether, and you're surrounded by your own thinking. I want to talk a little bit about magnetic induction, and when we went over the chapter of magnetism, chapter 14 from you, I strongly encourage you to check it out. But he talks about the magnetic poles. Let's say this is an ordinary bar of steel, okay, and the atoms of which the steel is made out of is scattered. They're everywhere, okay, they're not aligned, they're not in order. But when this bar of steel becomes magnetized, an electromagnetic force comes and starts affecting this ordinary bar of steel, this bar of steel then becomes magnetized, and the atoms of which that steel is made starts to group themselves. They start to align themselves to be an open passage, because once this bar of steel becomes affected by that magnet, it in turn becomes magnetized. And they talk about the north and south poles of those atoms, because all the north ends from it point north, like all the forces in the atoms that release magnetism point up, okay, and all the forces that receive magnetism point down. Okay, that is why through, even with planet Earth, okay, planet Earth has the North Pole and the South Pole. The magnetic field from the Earth shoots out of the North Pole and then goes back in towards the South, okay, likewise with this magnetic bar of steel. Remember, as above, so below, okay, and he even mentions it as these planets are just gigantic batteries, okay, and these batteries are receiving and collecting all of the energy, and then, like we had been saying this whole time, they go out and release these energies in whatever form, whatever characteristics that these planets have made them to be. So, moving on. So Kirlian photography, for example, has actually photographed the emanations of the subtle body in both plants and animals. In the aura, which is the external manifestation of the subtle body, your magnetic field, okay, and we even talk about when you enter into somebody else's atmosphere, when you enter into, let's say you get with your friends, for example, okay, and you feel their energy, or when you really know the energy of your friend, okay, when they're in a bad, or when they're in a irritated state of vibration, or when they're happy, or when they're sad. You can feel that coming from them because you've learned that that's how their energies work. You become so in tune with that person that even both your energies have melded, okay, and that process is known as magnetic induction because you can feel it coming from them. Likewise with other people, some people can make you feel extremely uncomfortable, and you feel that because what is happening, just like that ordinary bar of steel, all of the atoms and molecules of which we are made out of start changing, and grouping themselves with the nature of the magnetic field, the aura, the subtle body, the vibrations that we had moved into. That's why when you practice gratefulness and gratitude, you move into that vibration of being grateful, and your body will respond to that by making you feel better. And remember, your endocrine glands release chemicals in the bloodstream that make you feel that certain way. There's so many key elements. There's so many things that are going on each and every single moment. It's amazing. The energy field appears as a soft glow around the physical body, often made of spindle-like fibers. Wow, spindle-like fibers. I remember talking about, your mind has like fingers. It's like when you focus on something, these mind fingers of yours, they move and they grab onto whatever it is that you're focused on, and how, when you go back to what Charles F. Hannell was saying, when these magnetic currents that come out of the north end and into the south, these currents do not intersect each other. They don't cross over each other. They stay in a straight line. They stay within their own boundaries. And how she just said right here, they are often made of spindle-like fibers. In yoga psychology, the subtle body is divided into 5 sheaths of varying refinements in the subtle body called koshas, or koshas, K-O-S-H-A-S. At the core of the body, the subtle field appears as spinning discs, or chakras. The chakras are the psychic generators of the auric field. The aura itself is the meeting point between the core patterns generated by the chakras and the influence of the external world. Through modern physiology, we can see that these 7 chakras are located near the 7 major nerve ganglia that emanate from the spinal column. Remember how we were saying from earlier, these 7 major nerve ganglia along your spinal column. Okay, and how Charles F. Hannell said through science, we found that even these 7 major nerve ganglia have different colored fibers, like representing the different colors of the rainbows, and which is even more interesting because these different wheels in turn are different colors themselves. Very, very interesting. It's like, wow, is all this coincidence, or is all of this so true that we're just connecting the dots from different areas? Remember how we learned about inductive reasoning, figuring out things from different, areas, different genres, different books, and finding that golden fine line that each and every single one of them share, you know, because that is what we're here doing, and we're making it within ourselves to you know, just to know all of that stuff, you know, because I was even talking with my neighbor about it. It makes me more, it just fulfills me as a person. It makes me feel more whole as a being, you know, knowing all of this about myself, and I would love for you guys to feel that same way. So, there are two minor chakras mentioned in the ancient texts: the Soma chakras, located just above the third eye, and the Anandakanda lotus, which contains the celestial wishing tree, which in turn would be Kalpataru, of the heart chakra. See further descriptions on page 220. Okay, so once we reach that page, we're going to learn a little bit more about the heart chakra and the wishing tree of the Kalpataru. Some esoteric systems propose 9 or 12 chakras, while other traditions, such as Vajrayana Buddhism, describe only 5 centers. Since a chakra is literally a vortex of energy, remember that vortex of energy, the wheel, there is no limit to their number. However, the original 7, quote, master, end quote, chakras form a profound and elegant system. So we have 7 major master chakras, okay, and distributing between each and every single one of them. Between those are smaller chakras, smaller wheels in between each. But right now we're focusing on the 7 main ones. One that maps logically into the body through the nerve ganglia, yet connects our physical existence to higher and deeper non-physical realms. Mastering the first 7 chakras can easily take a lifetime, and I advise people to work fully with these 7 centers that relate to the body before undertaking more complex and obscure out-of-body systems. So what she's saying is, let's master the 7 chakras first. Let's master, you know, these energy centers within ourselves that we're working with day in and day out before we decide to do any out-of-body systems, you know, like astral traveling. You know, let's do this first before we even think about moving into things as such. And here is a diaphragm that I am very, very excited to show you guys, because remember that the major nerve ganglia that we were talking about, and here it is right here is their diaphragm of it. So chakra 7, which is located all through here, okay, that is the cerebral cortex, okay, that's where the chakra 7 dictates, and that is part of that is your Sahasrara chakra, your crown chakra, okay. And then next to the chakra, which goes from the C1 to C2 vertebral, which is the 6th chakra, which is the carotid plexus, which is supposed to be your pineal gland. Hold on, this should be more up here, because the third eye is located between the eyes, not between C1 and C2. Okay, but chakra 5, okay, C3 through C7, okay, is the pharyngeal plexus. Okay, that's the Visuddha chakra, responsible for our you know, talking, speaking, creating vibrations in the throat. Okay, and then there's chakra 4, which is from thoracic 1 through thoracic 5. Okay, your thoracic vertebral column, T1 to T5. That's chakra 4, which is the pulmonary and cardiac plexi. Okay, in the cardiac plexi, the cardiac muscle is the heart. Okay, and chakra 4 is the Anahata chakra, which is your heart chakra. That's responsible for love and compassion. Okay, next is chakra 3, which is the solar plexus, which is from T5 to T9. And remember, the solar plexus is supposed to be our willpower, it's supposed to be the organ of the subconscious mind, but it's supposed to be found behind the stomach. It's a nerve ganglia found behind the stomach. So let's read a little bit more on to see what they say a little bit more about that. Okay, and then chakra 2, which is known as T9 through 12, okay, which will be the sacral plexus. Remember, we've learned that the sacral plexus, the pelvic area, which is the Svadhisthana chakra. Chakra 3 is Manipura, if I didn't mention it. But Svadhisthana, creation, it's your creative center. When you write a poem, make music, it comes from this chakra. And even when you go through the process of having a baby, that comes from chakra 2. And then we have of course our chakra 1, which is our Muladhara chakra, which grounds us to the physical being, and that's in the coccygeal plexus. And then S1 and S5 is chakra 1 and 2. So in a way, I don't know, maybe all of this section is responsible for the bottom 2. So it's very interesting. Let's read a little bit more about that, the locations of each one, because we could say how it's distributed in this diaphragm. I can't really say it's too accurate, but the what is this word? The order of what they are sounds about right. Okay, what it says about figure 1.3, it says this diaphragm or diagram shows the vertebrae related to the different chakras based on the spinal nerves, which innervate the ganglia and various organs. If these vertebrae are damaged in a way that affects the spinal nerves, the related chakras may be subsequently affected, which is really cool. Excuse me. Now he says the spinal nerves which innervate the ganglia in various organs. Remember, the sympathetic nervous system, excuse me, I got the hiccups, and the solar plexus, okay, being the mind of the subconscious mind, okay. The sympathetic nervous system is a system of nerves which connects to every single part of the body, okay, and it's saying it innervates the ganglia and various organs. And if these organs in turn are damaged in any way, then the related chakras are in turn affected, which makes a lot of sense, because people who they have specific things that aren't if their liver is not working in congruence with their stomach, for example, that could cause a lot of problems. Remember how we learned that that's the start of disease, when our organs and cells don't work in congruence with each other. So even us, we need to keep focus on the positive, because we've learned that positive vibrations affect the body, just like negative vibrations do. But negative vibrations, negative thoughts will destroy the body, while positive vibrations will create and strengthen it. It's amazing, like wow, like it really goes this deep to how things are. Okay, continuing on. While many interpretations on the chakras advise transcending the lower chakras in favor of the more expansive upper chakras, I do not agree with this philosophy, nor do I believe this is the intention of the tantric text. Remember how we were going over tantric theology? They're both for pro-life and for pro-spirit. If we're only focused on the upper chakras, which are the most subtle ones, which have the most subtle amount of energies, we're only focusing on the more mind type of our system. If we're ignoring the bottom ones, which as we go lower and lower into our system, it becomes more and more physical as we get down and down to the bottom, because Muladhara, which is the chakra which grounds us to the physical being, is the most densest wheel, the most dense chakra we have in our system. And the crown chakra, which is responsible for our awareness and understanding, is the most subtle wheel of energies, of vibrations. So it starts from being, plainly spiritual, moving down, and as we go down and down, it becomes more and more material. It's very interesting how that works. And if we're denying, if we're not if we're not in tune with the bottom three, then we're missing half of who we are. Remember, it's all in one. It's nature, the external world, is just as important as the internal. Okay, yes, the internal might be a little bit more important because it starts from within, but the external world is just as much up there. Matter, yes, is an expression of an energy, but at the same time, it's this energy expressing itself in form. It's still just as important. This view arose during the period in history where all the major patriarchal religions advocated the greater importance of mind over matter, thus denying the existence of the spiritual within the mundane realms. Careful reading of the tantric text does not imply the denial of the lower chakras in favor of the upper chakras, but merely an unfoldment, where each higher level is a transcendence, which includes and is built on a level below it. In this way, the lower chakras provide a foundation for our spiritual growth, much as the roots of a tree, which push downward, allow the tree to grow taller. We do not need help. We do not help the tree grow taller by pulling up its roots. This will be explored more fully as we explore the significance of the first chakras in the next chapter. Okay, we're going to go ahead and end this video right here. And, the next one is systems from other cultures. We still have a good while on this chapter. I see my battery. My battery's actually almost dead. And we're already about 20 minutes in this video, so we're going to end it right here. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and share. And, share this video. Just, send it to one of your friends. Be like, hey, check this out. This is great information. Because this is great information. We're learning. And we're learning together, me and you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and put the next video on to upload. And let this battery charge a little bit, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Okay, when we come back, we're going to start with systems from other